Welcome to APCUG's Wednesday workshop, where we get together in the middle of the week to learn more about technology. And speaking of technology, that has really changed over the years that we've been doing these workshops. The years that we've been doing computer sales ourselves from years. And I can remember how my first cell phone that I had was a big, bulky thing and made phone calls. And over the years, we know, and Cyn's going to talk about that, what's happened over the years. And it's amazing when we get told that the phones that we have nowadays are more powerful than the computers and stuff that were on the early space satellite ships that went up into space. We're really happy to have a new presenter with us today, and name is Cyn Mackley, and it's kind of special because it turns out she's a Buckeye, just like me and a few of the people who are here in the workshops. Cyn Mackley is mostly known as a mystery writer, but she's also works in TV. She works in a number of different areas that she's gotten involved in, and she is into tech help because she was one of those kind of people who could explain things that people could understand. And so the engineer said, you tell them, you teach them how to do it. So Cyn's got a tech blog too, and she's going to tell us about that. And from what I understand, in her mystery book, she always has cats. So there's something about that. Today, she's up in Toledo, Ohio. So she went from the south part of Ohio to the north part of Ohio. And she's going to be sharing with us the topic that we presented about whether or not you could get rid of your computer and just use your smartphone. So Cindy, if you want to unmute, then you can take over and share with us whether or not we can get rid of all this bulky stuff I've got around me and go with this small little device that's in your hand.
Great, thank you, thank you. I will say the reason this topic initially came up was the end of support for Windows 10 and me talking with people that are like, I can't afford a new computer, and coming up with, you may not need one depending on what you're doing. And I have created this lovely little PowerPoint presentation here, and I will might be more fun to look at than me. Well, I am going to hit that and then go over here and start the slideshow from the beginning. And I'm hoping you're seeing a full slideshow. And
Yeah, there we
what
are.
what we're going to discuss here is can you replace it with a smartphone? And we're going to look at the pros and the cons. And the reason this question, comes up is, a smartphone's not a phone. It's a little light computer. I mean, but we call them different. We call them smartphones just to differentiate between a desktop. And a lot of people already do almost all their daily tasks on their phone anyway, but there are reasons that you may need a computer. And, sometimes it's cost, sometimes it's just a matter of like convenience, and that's a real question. What do you need? Do you need a computer? And the big picture is, like I said, they're both powerful devices, they're both computers. Not only is it your smartphone more powerful than say the early devices they took things up into space with. Actually, early pocket calculators were actually more powerful, but it is also a great, pretty good camera. It is a video camera. It can just become so many things. It can be your TV screen, and it is for a lot of people. And it's convenient and it's portable. But computers, they are necessary for some things, but we're going to look at what to consider. Now, as I'm sure you figured out, you've always got it with you. It's a touch screen. They use mobile apps instead of desktop software, but truthfully, they're all programs. An app is a program is an app. The ones on Phones are generally use a little less power and a little simpler and are really meant to set up to be more user friendly. To get right to it, you can see what you want. Now, smartphones, light, instant access to the internet. I mean, the speed is, and it's easy to use if you're good with touchscreens. Type, swipe, scroll, you can move around pretty quick. And you go into an app store for any of these things, and there's millions and millions of options, almost to the point of confusion. And they are, a lot of them, free, but not really free. Free at the expense of really using a lot of your data. Now, the limitation, less powerful than most computers. Now, some people do not like the small screen, it's just too much for them. Uh, Desktop, the apps that are designed for phones are often not quite as powerful as desktop software. And if you were a person like me, that like I have all these jobs, I do a lot of multitasking. I have 74 tabs open and 5 programs running and 3 giant screens. It's not the best thing. Now, computers, obviously, bigger screens. If it's a good computer, more processing power. You've got your keyboard, you've got your mouse, you've got that high level software. Say, take something like Photoshop that's very powerful. You are not going to get that level of power on a phone. And there are a lot of business apps that you really are not going to find like that level of power in software. There might be a version for your phone to access it, but you have to get into the desktop software and able to do some tasks. Now, computers, they run the big applications. They're usually have more space and can handle complex tasks, great multitasking, and you have storage options. You have external hard drives. You have the ability to upgrade. Phones, you have what you have. You buy it with the storage options available. You get it with the processing power. Desktops, especially, can be very customizable. Now, what downsides of computers? Well, evil. No, I'm just kidding. They're not portable. There's usually, some wires and some setup and attaching it to this and that. They don't kick up as quickly as phones. Phones are all ready to go. And, while laptops are somewhat portable, they are not stick it in your pocket portable. And, desktops, they're not going anywhere without a fight. All right, now that's the question. Can you replace your phone replace your computer? If we want to cut to the chase here, maybe. Or if you want to stick around, the rest of the answer is what you have to ask yourself is like, what do I use it for? And I've had this discussion with a lot of people. If you're using it for some email, some social media, playing around on the internet, taking a few pictures and not really doing much, but maybe removing some red eye or brightening them, you might not need the expenditure of a PC, especially if money is an issue. Now, some tasks, heavy video and photo editing complex stuff we're using like Photoshop or Premiere, it's not going to work. Although there are people that make their living using like social media app video editing, very light editing using just their phone. But for professional design software, very complex spreadsheets. If you are a gamer, you play high-end games and not casual games, you will need more speed. And obviously, if you're doing software development, you're probably going to want the device you're developing the software for. Now, some questions. Are you like me? Do you use multiple windows? Do you have 32 tabs open at once? Do you like research while you're writing? Do you do a lot of drag and drop tools? Because with smartphones, you're usually using one app at a time, although there are, you can have multiple window screen and switch between apps. It's really hard to like actually use two at one time like you can on a desktop. That's like my skill. My greatest skill in the world is being able to use 32 programs at one time. I have these weird workflows that work for me. Now, and there's also the learning curve. Touchscreen instead of a mouse. Some people do not like touchscreens. There are some things I have a problem with on them. I do like having a mouse. Uh, it's a smaller screen, and for some people, that's a problem. The on-screen keyboard, you know, that is not fast. I'm a touch typist, and for some people that doesn't work, although you can get keyboards and use them with your phone. We'll get into that later, the accessories that can make this a little easier. Now, okay, if you're like, I want to try it, I want to turn my smartphone into your main device. Here's some steps you can take. I do not obviously suggest anyone make this switch immediately with no going back. It might be a good, try it for a couple of weeks, try it for a month, and then see what happens, especially if you're getting into a point where you're thinking about buying a new computer. Now, you're going to need, oh, look at me, I can't even type right. But you're going to need, you're not going to be able to do this really with a cheap phone. You're going to want a powerful, good phone. And that's like a top of the line Android, like a Samsung Galaxy, a Google Pixel, or the newer iPhones. Um, and what you're going to want is a fast processor, plenty of storage, and a good large screen. So maybe you're going to want the Ultra or the Plus version of the phone. There are some folding screens now that fold out to a tablet-like screen. Seems like a great idea. I have yet to come across one that doesn't break, so it's not something I'm ready to recommend yet, although if they ever feel like they get it right, I would. But some of these phones are kind of almost getting to tablet size. Some of them even come with a stylus that like fits into the phone. Okay, here in the accessories, as we talked about, Bluetooth keyboard. You can also hook up a Bluetooth mouse, a phone stand, very helpful, especially if you're going to be doing things like this Zoom meeting through it. You have portable chargers and power banks. They're great to have because if you're going to be doing like a lot of taxing work, you may want to keep it plugged in. And it is possible to get it turned into a mini workstation and, you know, even share your video to a larger screen. Now, you can print from a smartphone because that's a question a lot of people have asked. You can do it through different cloud print services and apps. There are almost every printer brand will have a specific app for mobile. And it's interesting. Uh, I have found a lot of younger people, and when I say younger people, I say people under 40 that I've worked with, they don't know how to print. A printer is very foreign to them. They don't really understand how documents work. It's all a very, very strange land, and they think I'm very wise. Now, things that can really help if you're going to want to do documents on your phone, you can use Google Docs, Sheets and Slides. And, you know, the Google Docs is free. You can use, there are free versions of Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint that come if you have an Outlook address of any kind. But if you also pay for the Microsoft subscription, you also get some great apps with a bit more features. Those they're cloud based, they sync across devices. I found them very helpful. I write for a living. I was saying I've created like whole breaking news stories on there. I've started a book on there. I think a lot of them, again, your mileage may vary about whether how you like that interface, but it's certainly worth trying. And there are there is a version, not a full version of like LibreOffice or OpenOffice, but there are a couple of pared down versions you can try as apps, but for the most part, you'll find your best for all this type of things will be Google Docs or Microsoft. All right. Now, photo and media management. There are great apps for photo editing. Adobe Lightroom, Snapseed is one I like. Google Photos and your iPhones do give you storage and organization. And phones, besides being great cameras, are good at basic photo editing like cropping, brightening, and a lot of phones have built-in features where you can also do special effects. But if you're wanting to get into, and I mean, high-level stuff, the kind of high-level video recording we would have needed a crew of 4 people 25 years ago to do. It's astonishing to me. Uh, but again, but if you want that Photoshop level area of expertise, that's still going to require a PC or a Mac. Now, pros of using only a smartphone, like we said, it's portable. Everything's on one device. Everything. I mean, it's your flashlight. It's Everything. It's your computer, it's your camcorder, it's your music player, it's your entire library of books. Apps are often free or inexpensive, but they're not, it's not free. You're being tracked, you're getting your information. They do cost less than most computers, at least what the payments you're going to have to make when it's attached to a phone plan, but you're going to have a phone plan, and that is an expense to have one with data. Um, you know, you don't do not have the power for complex tasks. Small screens can start to get on your nerves. Apps are apps, and it can get very cramped for multitasking, and it's a small space. It can bother your hands, your eyes. Now, if it may be enough for you, if you basically email, browsing, doing some writing, use a lot of apps, you like being able to take it with you and use it all the time. But if you have like if you're in a professional setting, it's probably going to be a PC. There's lots of multitasking and things that require you to really be able to see stuff, and large screens or advanced software. The computer is probably going to be your best friend there. And the final answer here is there is just no one size fits all answer. The best device, it's up to you. What you like, what you can use. I mean, there are people who have never used a PC. There are people who get rid of their TVs in exchange for using a small screen like this. I find the thing I do the least on here is use the phone. And sometimes I have trouble answering the phone. It's kind of funny. Like I can have five things going on my phone, and I can't my phone, and I can't figure out how to answer it. But there's no one size fits all, but it is doable, and it's a bit of a learning curve. But you know what? You can learn it. It's computers used to be a lot more difficult. When I came up, they were a little glowing green screen the size of a house to do word processing, and smartphones are actually really easy compared to the things we used to have to know to use computers. Although for some reason people still find them very intimidating, and I think it's because there are so many features. And I had used to like to share an electronics ad from the 80s that showed all these devices that have been replaced by smartphones: answering machines, video camcorders, pocket games, individual pocket games. These things have become everything. It is your library full of books. It can be all of your music everywhere. So it's a brave new world, and you either love them or you hate them. And on that, has anybody got any questions beyond that? I'll be glad to answer them.
We'll check with Judy first before we open things up for everybody.
I see Bob G has a question.
Okay, we're going to jump that way. Give me a chance to let him unmute.
I'm not a touch typist, so I've found out that the best way to use the smartphone, and usually also on my computer, I use my mouth, because everything now allows voice input, and it has greatly improved over the years.
Mhm.
The oohs and the ahs usually get taken out automatically. There's also software available through AI that anticipates when you make a mistake and just eliminates it. So you don't have to go back and do all the editing we used to have to do in the beginning when we used our voice. So if you don't do touch typing, or you hate the small keyboard on your phone, just hit that microphone button and start gabbing. It's very good at transcribing what you say into actual text. Then just hit the send button. And sometimes the answers it comes up with, if it makes a mistake, hey, they're fun on the other side.
Me
That
too,
is
Bob G. I loved you using my voice with that because I fat finger everything.
That is like 100%. And what's amusing is I've been getting some police reports from places that are a department that entirely has switched to that, but they are not going back and editing them. So some of them are coming up with like weird things. And I know one place, their dictation software had picked up on a Disney movie playing in the background, and the report actually came out saying that a police officer turned into a frog. And I have gotten some things like that, and just like strange messages from people where I'm like, okay, I don't think that's what you really want, but so it doesn't hurt to look it over. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The voice technology, I think that is an entire other presentation almost. What all dictation technology, what this type of communication has done for people that are hearing impaired to be able to communicate with people. It could be a completely other presentation, but that's 100% on. You can talk your way through it.
My brother, the retired homicide detective, would have loved to be able to use his voice instead of having to think, oh my Lord, I really have to type that report. Not happy. John Kraut, you're on.
Hello, everybody. I did a presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I did a presentation a few years back on a different way to connect your phone to your various peripherals. And this may be especially useful for those who do have a USB keyboard and a USB mouse or trackball. Buy a simple cable that is known as on the go that allows your smartphone to act as a USB host device. Like a computer, you can then plug in a peripheral that you already own. And that can be, like I said, your USB keyboard, your USB mouse, or trackball. If you buy a second item, which is what's called a USB hub, then you can plug in multiple other things such as flash drives, USB hard drives or solid state drives. And you can even plug in a USB to HDMI converter and then connect it to your monitor or your big TV screen. Now, all of that is possible with modern smartphones. They have to be OTG capable. Ancient smartphones, things like prior to Android 8, probably don't have that capability, but certainly my Galaxy S10 did, which is now more than 7 years old, and my current S20 does. I also tried it on my iPhone 10 and 11. Those OTG cables worked just fine. And that another justification for this is when you do find your computer has failed and is not repairable, and you are about to shop for a new one, perhaps an inexpensive laptop, then you can use your phone as a temporary computer. You don't have to go there permanently, but you can use it for email, as you said, access to the web, and other ways with your existing peripherals. And that's it.
Thank you. And I'm glad you're wearing your nice woolly sweater.
Actually, it's 53 degrees here today. The picture behind me is the tallest waterfall in Maryland, called Muddy Creek Falls, and it freezes so completely downstream from it that you can walk right up to it and take a picture like you see the photographer behind me.
Cool. Diane Binder in obviously warm Florida.
And I can't, can unmute myself now. Okay, thank you, Judy. I have two questions. Well, one's a point, one's a question. I love the computer. I also use my smartphone, which is an iPhone. I find difficulty on my phone with the filing system as opposed to a computer file explorer. So I just wanted to see if you had any tips about that, or again, that could be a presentation. And the other comment was on the voice control. Must be my accent, but my voice doesn't come out well when I talk. I have a lot of mistakes, and I find that if I talk slower and clearer like this, then it picks up the correct words. And so I just want to say, I think people who are struggling with that probably talk too fast, and it has a tendency to pick up our slang. And I agree, that could be another presentation as well. But I am concerned about the filing system on a smartphone. Thank you.
Um, well, you can do some organizing in the file app. You go down into, and it is going to be different on an iPhone versus an Android, but you can go down and the movable files, do some moving around of things, but some things are, it is very intentionally walled off in apps and how they work, basically to make them what they call user friendly, but also idiot proof to make sure somebody doesn't accidentally uh, get into some files. But yeah, you're right. That is an entire other presentation about dealing with files. But for the most part, that's like something I think smartphone users are probably don't think about as much as computer people. As computer people, we like our file trees and our file organization, and the smartphones kind of want to be smarter and do it for you and put things where they go. But you are able to sort your photos to a degree and other things to a degree, not as much as you can in Windows. But yeah, you're right. That would make another great presentation. I will say check your phone. There may be a voice training option for you to train it to your voice, and like you can with your smart home speakers and things. And it is supposed to, the AI in your phone is supposed to learn your voice and get along more with you. So there may be an option on there as something to try, but you're right. You need to speak slowly, even though it does appear to hear and everything you say and serve you Facebook ads for it. Sometimes it won't pick up the most basic. I had gotten to a really good shouting match with my two dueling Alexa speakers this week. So about it not understanding me. So
Yeah,
I do.
I'm glad to hear somebody else shouting at their speakers. I would get in an argument with one of my Google Assistant people too, and the one that was in the garage, and we'd go round and around and around. Murray, unmute, please.
Okay, am I on mute? Oh, it says,
You're done. You're
okay,
speak.
you can hear me now?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I'm like some of the others. I hate the little keyboard. I make mistakes all the time. My dictation is terrible and always has been, even back in the old days when you kind of had a dictaphone and you had a secretary who would type the stuff up for you. I'd spend more time editing whatever I had dictated than I would have if I just typed it in the first place. I am a touch typist, so that is a big problem. The other comment is that there really are very, very few applications for genealogy that work well on a phone. I think the only one that I know of is the one that ties with Mac Mac Family Tree. The mobile version of that is probably sort of okay, but boy, those are expensive applications compared to the two better ones that exist that you can't do anything on your phone except maybe look at them. So there's a lot of reasons, although it is nice to have it. The camera is especially good. It's probably almost as good as my DSLR camera and a lot easier to carry around. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Steve Parker, unmute, please.
Hi, have you considered swapping instead of your computer for your phone, your smartwatch for your smartphone, and just leaving the smartphone at home and using the watch?
Oh,
It's amazing what the new iPhones can do. And as far as typing it, you don't have to worry about that. As Bob said, you just dictate it to the phone. Yeah, it's like something out of Dick Tracy.
Uh, I'm not there yet. I do see some people, although for some things your watch does need to be kind of closer to your phone because it doesn't actually operate. At least the Apple Watch doesn't completely operate independently of the phone. It's kind of its own little ecosystem. But yeah, those
It
things,
can for some things though.
for some things, yeah,
Yeah.
those things are cool. It's very
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
I mean, you have to be a particular kind of person to go completely to the Apple Watch. But I see people that live and die by it. If they're without, I have some friends that they'll go into full on panic mode if they don't have their watch tracking their every move. And I mean, it's heading there, especially as things get more voice controlled. But that would just be too much for me.
Well, the great thing is you don't have to have a billboard surgically attached to your body somewhere. Or
I take a lot of photos for different things I do, a lot of photos and video. So, and that wouldn't probably work so well for me. But if it meets your needs, I mean, if your needs are email, little communication, a little surfing, keeping in touch with your messaging, perfect option. Perfect option.
John Kraut.
I have answers for the people who are interested in using something like Windows File Explorer on their phones. For Android, one I have recommended in many of my past presentations is called My Files, and it is a zero-cost app on the Play Store. It is published by Samsung. It will work on any phone. I have used it for years, all the way back to my Galaxy S7. And for iPhone, it's included with your phone. It's called Files. It does a great job, particularly if you like to store your files and retrieve them on iCloud, because it does access that. My Files for Android comes with the ability to talk to the internal storage, the SD card, Microsoft OneDrive, any Google Drive account you have, which you probably have anyway because you have an Android phone. And in my case, it also includes network storage, which means my network attached storage, where I save everything at home, simply so that if a hard drive fails on one of my computers, I can access the files, or even if it doesn't, I can access the files from any computer I happen to be using, even my smartphone. So those are powerful things that are worth learning about if you even think you're going to use your smartphone temporarily as a replacement for a broken computer.
Too
I-
cool.
I would say I use a Windows PC and I have that synced with my Galaxy, and so if there's anywhere near each other, they're synced. If a picture comes in, I take a picture, it's immediately available to put into my Microsoft storage. I can look at there. I can send, like if I want to send text and want a keyboard, I can do the text there. I can answer phone calls with my microphone on my phone. So obviously this isn't an either or thing, but I highly suggest enabling things like that. It makes file transfers just a breeze. It is just really highly convenient and to integrate those devices together and make them one useful ecosystem. And I mean, it took me a while to get the hang of it and get it set up, but I would like never go back not being able to get to most every file I have and everything I'm using all from my devices. I'm so attached to that now.
Bill James, who you met at the pre-meeting, he syncs his laptop, his Samsung laptop, and with his mini Mac, his Samsung phone, his Chromebook, you name it. He has every single piece of technology known to man, and they are all synced up in the cloud, and he just loves it. Wouldn't do it any other way. Bob G, you're on again.
Yeah, this is a little bit off topic, but I had a notice for an update on my Windows computer this morning, and one of the new features was in Copilot, the voice where you talk to it and it talks back to you. I have more than one computer, so while one computer was finished updating, the other one had just finished updating, and I started to use the voice in Copilot. And all of a sudden, I had the two computers just gabbing to each other because they're within voice range of each other. And I literally had to go in and turn them off because they were just back and forth with a conversation.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I'm sorry.
Accidentally said
I had that happen with Alexa
open your
and my
computer.
PC. They were having a big old conversation. Like I was like totally out of the loop, but they were going back and forth, and I'm like, no, they're gonna take over. This has to
Yeah,
stop.
if I didn't shut it up, they would have just continued the whole day and would have been gabbing back and forth.
Would you have learned anything new?
No, because there was like in a cycle. You know, if you have nothing else to say, we'll have to end this. And then the other one chimed in and pretty much repeated the same thing, but they kept going back in a circle, each one telling the other that, okay, if you have nothing else.
Technology is taking over, isn't it? Murray,
Am I unmuted?
you're
Okay.
beautiful. Wonderful.
So I was just going to mention just one of the things, for example, just an example. I go to an exercise class and I ask Siri on my watch to start my workout. And it says, sorry, I can't find your phone. I forgot my phone in the room. So it won't start the workout. Something as simple as that. It won't start the workout on the watch if the phone is within Bluetooth range. And I'm sure there are many, many other things it won't do if I don't have the phone with me.
Donald.
Good morning from Prescott, Arizona. My problem is that when I want to create an additional folder in my Microsoft Outlook mail or even Google Mail, that I have to use my PC to go in there to make a subfolder or a folder or add a folder for a particular subject. Say, for instance, travel, a subfolder would be cruise travel or something like that. And I just find I need my PC to do that. So I schedule time on my PC to implement that.
Thank you for sharing that. John, oh, there you are, John.
Yep. I was waiting to be last in line or so, but somebody else might come up. I was going to ask Cyn if she would like to share her website and let people know how they can start getting your tech tips that you work on and share. That's how we first found you, was with one of those tech tips that was passed on to me.
Okay, my website is cynmackley.com, and I have a tech tips newsletter, but it is a subscription newsletter. If anyone would be interested in signing up, usually it's $23.97 for the basic membership per year, but I think we could work that out to like $11 if anybody here would be interested in that discount. But I do also put up some just open to everyone tech tips. But you can go there and contact me there if you're interested in signing up, or you just want to look around and look at the tech tips. There's like years of them there, and we do put up a lot of them. The newsletter, it is a subscription thing just because of how much I have to pay to send the newsletter out. But I will also say, with a little bit of shameless self-promotion, I am giving away a mystery novel today. If you like Kindle books, it's on Amazon. It's called Camelot, West Virginia. It is the King Arthur tale set in modern-day West Virginia with first responders as the knights. It's at Amazon.com. Cyn Mackley, that's the book. It's a free Kindle download today if you want it. And also, if you have any tech questions and you want to ask me, you can just use the contact me on my website, and I will try to get some answers to you if you have anything specific.
Thank you. I have been a subscriber for many, 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 many years, and she talks in just like now. Her answers are in plain English. So if you have other sources and you go, oh my gosh, I don't understand the answer, Cyn is your source, and she is an excellent mystery writer. That's what it says on her shirt there. I read them. I give them to my daughter. We give them to sorry, you only get one sale, and that's me. And then the other daughter's mother-in-law. But And she lives in Ohio, around where John lives. What can I tell you? She's kind of like family for some of us. John Kraut, you're on.
I have an answer for Mr. McKellar. At least in the My Files app that I mentioned earlier for Android phones, you can create a new folder in any storage, whether it's cloud storage, local storage on the phone, or a NAS. I just double checked that on my phone. I do not have my iPhone in front of me, but I believe the Files app can do the same thing. So that is a big part of working with storage for anybody. You always have to create new folders. I create a new folder every time I go out and shoot photos. I create a folder named for that date and usually the subject matter of the photos, like Christmas Day or July 4. So I know that's important to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And yes, you can do that on your phone.
Thank you very much.
And just by the way, I hope to relocate from Virginia out to your neck of the woods. I really enjoyed visiting Flagstaff last year for 8 days, and I think that may be my next residential area.
Love to have
you
you.
don't want to go to Prescott.
Well, I'm going to look at Prescott and the Quad Cities, but I like the aspen trees that are all around Flagstaff.
Okay, well, they have trees in Prescott, you know.
I'm specifically looking for aspens, thank you.
Okay, well, I don't know what kind of trees they have because I'm in Southern California.
Aspens are actually in almost every state of the union. There's some 3 hours away from me in the county where my dad was born in West Virginia.
Okay. Dale, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to know the addresses. Is there a way you could put them in
I
chat?
will send it out to everybody.
I know I haven't been getting those, by the way, so I don't
Not to
have
worry.
You have my correct email address, so I actually
Yes, because you registered with it.
Okay, I haven't gotten them. Thank
That's because I'm way behind.
The address for her website is in your chat.
Yeah. John, unmute. Thank you.
Hi. I just wanted to comment that we're talking about smartphones, but I started to look up because I tripped across it. You can also do the same thing with an iPad, for example, and I went and bought a Bluetooth keyboard, a separate Bluetooth mouse for about $20, and you can plug it in to a large monitor. So you don't have to just work on the small screen. And the same thing is true with the iPhone and probably with the smartphone as well, with the Samsung phone or any other Android phone. So you can actually work on a large screen and use a Bluetooth mouse. And as John Kraut said, or someone, Huey, Bob, you can talk to it. You can do all of these things talking. And so one of the things about using the iPad, if you turn it horizontally, the latest, see, I used an old, obsolete iPad. It didn't even have to be the latest one because I was going to do everything on this through Safari. So once it was on Wi-Fi, I could do almost everything, and I didn't even have to know that it was an iPad. I would just be looking at a large screen using my keyboard or my mouse, and if you have a touchscreen monitor, you can do that. And the same things are true for using it with a smartphone. Use Bluetooth connections, large screen, and you can do everything. And if now somebody was talking about, I just checked. You can plug USB devices into the USB port using, I looked up what John Kraut had said, this on the go, actually any USB to Bluetooth connector, USB-C, USB-A, or if you have a Lightning device, you get a Lightning to USB-A, and you can then put the USB hub and you can connect everything on there, even your printer if you want, if it's a USB connected printer. So you really can replace this. It would be just like having a Chromebook, which only does things through the browser anyway. Now you're, instead of using Chrome, you're using Safari. That's what I had to say.
Thank you. And Diane.
I just wanted to say, Cyn has a new fan, me. I'm born and raised
Okay.
West Virginia.
Yes,
I'm sorry I didn't know about the book, but I've already looked it up
if
and
we have to order it,
love her
we have
tips.
to order
Thank
it.
you very much.
Well,
Sort
yep.
of. Kind
Oh,
of.
thank you. I like fans. I like I said, I'm the only. I like to say I'm the only author that'll help you get your book on your Kindle and troubleshoot it for you. So,
Thank you.
you need that. You need help getting that Kindle app down on your phone. I'm your lady. I will make sure you're.
Maybe I can manage that. Thank you very much. It was great. Loved it.
On the cover of that Camelot novel, is that Neuschwanstein that's in the image?
Ish.
Yeah.
The story is that somebody has built a castle in West Virginia that in this coal mining town that is under great duress. So it is it was the stock image that was available to play with. So
Very good. Does anybody have any more questions? Going. Nope. Outstanding presentation. Good Q&A. You got more Q&A from these turkeys than most people do. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to thank Cyn, from another Buckeye to her, to thank her for sharing. Judy was disappointed because she saw that slideshow of yours. You said, this is going to be great. I'd love to do it. But we got you to do it, and that's even better.
Too cool.
Yeah, so I'm thankful for you sharing with us, and maybe sometime in the future we can have you do another topic for us, because you do it like we like, plain and simple.
love to. This is fun.